Hi, and welcome to Mixed Media Masters. Today I want to share a quick tip with you for when you're trying to create curved lines on a canvas that you're painting. Now, I have a canvas here in front of me and I have some masking tape. And the thought is I'll just make a curved line with my masking tape. So I'll pull a length out here and think, all right, I'm going to put that maybe there and curve it like this. And oh gosh, yeah, so I'm going to realize very quickly when trying to do that, it's not going to work out for me. And well, it didn't solve the problem. So how can I create a good curved line when I'm working on a canvas and something that I can also mask, create myself an opportunity to create the line that I want to create and not the line that shows up with my freehand painting, right? I may not have the mad skills I need to really grab that paintbrush and go where I want. Well, I'm going to show you, it's a fairly easy solution, but there are a couple steps. First of all, let's take a length of tape here. I'll move this out of the way. And I'm going to put a length of tape right here. And what I want to do with this tape is I want to make it thinner. In order for me to create the curved lines that I'm looking for, I need to create basically only have part of this tape to work with. So I'm going to grab my flat ruler here, and I'm just going to create kind of a line here. I'm going to grab a rotary cutter. If you spend any time with me, you know this is one of my go-to tools. And I'm just going to create basically a line here. Let me just cut this along here. And there we go. All right. So I'm going to just now peel up that sliver of tape that I've created here. There it is. And so now if I say, well, I want to create a curved line, can I do that? Now if I were to come into my canvas, just based upon the principles of you know how products move when they're less encumbered, being able to create a curve, right? Let me just make sure I tack that down, is so much more doable. Okay, and I can even create, whatever kind of shape I want. So there we are. So I have a good mask line in there, and that's kind of fun. Now, as we've discussed in the previous video, one of the things I want to do to guarantee my success is to make sure, even though I'm using masking tape here, it doesn't always mean that it masks, especially when we're working on canvas, because canvas has all these little nooks and crannies in it, and the paint has this way to seeping under the tape and just making our lines not as clean as we want them. So in this case, I'm going to go back to using my fluid medium. Now, I'll put a link in the description below as to what this stuff is and why you should care, but basically this is acrylic paint that has no pigment in it. And this is a thinner version. This is a more of a fluid version. Because I want to have this be kind of thin. And what I'm simply going to do is I'm going to grab a paintbrush and I'm going to pour a little bit out into my paintbrush. I could push this into a dish if I wanted to, but I find sometimes I end up with extra and I don't need it and I don't want to waste it. And all I'm simply doing is I'm going to put a little bit of this on my paintbrush, and it's almost like a glue of sorts. And then what I want to do is I want to come here on the line on the side that I'm going to be running my paint. And I want to just come and I want to paint into my tape here. And what I'm basically doing is I'm putting in this transparent paint. When it dries, it's going to be totally clear. And this paint will seal up any of the nooks and crannies between my masking tape and my canvas. So I'll just come on in here. And again, I want to, spread this out enough so it doesn't interfere with any of the paint. But again, you can probably not see this go on while I'm painting it here. It probably looks like I'm painting with air. But I will assure you there's a little bit that's going in here. Let me get just a dash more to do this, okay? And the goal again is to make sure that this boundary between the tape and the canvas is sealed up nice and tight. And that way, when we go to actually put our real pigment on, whatever color we're using, we'll be able to see the results, right? So I'm gonna give that a moment to dry, wash my paintbrush, and we'll be right back and let's put some color into this. So we've given it a few minutes and the medium has dried. Right now we can't see it, not that we could see much before. Now I'm going to come in here with that line sealed. I'm going to just add some color here. I'm going to use some basic black so we have some good contrast here. And again, because my paint, my masking line is really thin, I have to be a little bit more careful. I don't have as much room for slop here, but I want to just get my color coming down here. Let's say I have well, you know what? I'll go crazy and I'll paint this side of the canvas. There we go. And that'll be my center line. I'll put another color on the other side of that. That could be a lovely finished piece of artwork when we're done. Okay, we got full coverage here. I'm going to give this a few minutes to dry as well, and then we'll get rid of that tape and see how well our masking job did. Okay, the paint has had an opportunity to dry. Now let's go for the big reveal. So again, I'm going to be gentle here as I take this off, but hopefully because we were able to get our medium down first, look at that. As I pull this away, the line underneath is coming away. Oh, we got a little bit of a problem there. I'm not sure what happened. That's not happy making. And one of the things I would do here is I would come in here while I were working on this, and I would grab my utility knife and just see, maybe that's just some leftover smudge. I don't know what happened there. All right, well, looks like it's still a little wet. That could be my bad for taking the tape off a little too prematurely. But something to be learned, something to be learned. But as you can see, most of the line we have here is super clean. With a little more patience and trying not to do this on camera, it would probably work out pretty well. Now, that's not something that's making me super happy, but there is a way that I can clean that. One of the things, depending on what I'm doing here, now if I were going for just a straight black and white, maybe it's a problem. But if I want to lay down another color in this section that is in the white, I can simply come in here and let's cut another strip that we can use for masking purposes. Again, I'm going to come in here and create something. Let's get that out of the way. And get my rotary cutter back into business here. And I'm just going to cut this tape again to create a narrow strip. Beautiful. And with this. Now, I already have this curve in place, but I want to find a way to mirror this curve. Now, in this situation, frankly, my paint is still a little too dry, too wet, I should say. There's still a couple spots. I'll probably wait a few moments before I drop this in. Let me give it a few more moments, then we'll come in and I'll show you exactly what to do with this strip of tape. Okay, we've given this an opportunity to dry a little bit more thoroughly, and now I want to try to see if I can fix up this little smudge, because it's making me unhappy. First of all, well, I don't need to turn this necessarily. I'm going to get my new strip of tape up here. And what I want to do now is I want to mask the other side of this line, if you will. And now that the paint has had an opportunity to dry thoroughly, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to run this tape down and I'm going to match the line. And again, I'm going to go slowly and carefully. And I want a little sliver of black to show through. And the reason I want the black to show through is I want to prevent any of the kind of us missing this and having a sliver of white show up when we're done matching our colors together. All right, so I'm going to make sure that I have a little bit of overlap on the black, and that should take it. I'm just going to stick this down as I go along here. There we go. And let's make sure we have something that's going to stick. Beautiful, beautiful. And then down here, and this is going to allow us to paint over the smudgy areas, which is not what I wanted to have happen, but you know what? Not everything goes as planned. This is the nature of working in kind of a live studio, is you will have moments where you're not going to be as happy as you really wanted to be because something did not go according to plan. What you saw in here, what actually happened in the studio, two very different things. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to put my line in here. I got a couple of wrinkles in here, but it's fine where we are. But again, I want to seal up this edge. I want to make sure that nothing spills underneath this. So I'm going to go back to my liquid medium. I'm going to come in here with my liquid medium and let's just get another line. This time I'm going to do it on the other side of the line. And again, you need some patience with some projects. Some things we can do pretty quickly. When I find when working with paint, paint is just one of the things that just takes time to get there. And you know, one of the reasons I love working with paper is that you can move things around, you can make mistakes and say, I don't like that. With paint, when you put something down and something doesn't go according to plan, it's a little more permanent unless you can come up with some crafty ways to fix your problems, which is what we're doing right now. We're going to fix our problem. So again, let me get kind of a good line here. So again, we get really clean results on the edge of this tape. Okay, and I'll just clean that up a little bit. Okay, so once again, I'm going to give that a few minutes because I'm going to be patient. I'm going to learn patience, and I'm going to I'll clean this up a tiny bit. But let me let it dry, and once we're done, let's see what happens when we put the other color in here and try to create this boundary. All right, we've given this more time for the media to dry here, and I'm going to start laying down another color. I'm going to put down this blue color here. I don't know, it's my black and blue period, I guess. That's what we're going to do here. I'm going to put something, I want to have something that will color this nicely and also cover up this other side of things. So I'm going to do what we did before. I'm going to paint my line along this masking tape. Let's get some blue in here, and let's see what the results are going to be. Okay, that's well covered. Looks like we're in good shape there. Now, once again, I'm going to wait for this color to dry. There's a lot of drying that goes on in painting. You ever notice that? We're going to wait for this to dry, and then when we come back, we're going to take that masking tape off and see if everything has been magically completed and fixed. Okay, we've given the paint a chance to dry, and now it's time for the big reveal. And again, we're going to take this slowly, make sure that everything goes according to plan, but and we don't want to pull up on any of the paint we're laid down here. That's certainly not what we want to do. But I'm going to come in here, it's still a little wetter than it probably should be, so hopefully that's not going to cause us any problems. But I'm going to pull this off and create the border between these two areas. And there we go. And it's pretty clean. Now I'm going to mention a few things because it's worth mentioning. I'm seeing a little bit of pickup of the paint on this side where the black is. So the challenge that I ran into, and this is just because I'm trying to hurry this along, is that when you mask over paint that's not fully dry, you risk the possibility that you're going to pick some of that paint up. So I might go in there with a paintbrush and just tweak a little bit if that's what I want to be able to do. But at the end of the day, what I'm really most impressed with is how clean this line is between my two colors. That was the objective going into this, obviously, and being able to have something that we didn't get bleed and I could create. Now, could I freehand that line in there? Yeah, probably not. Maybe if I got lucky once in a while. But we want to come in here and be able to use the tools we have at our disposal to take care of the skills we might not necessarily have. And I don't think I'm ever going to have the brush skills to be able to put a line exactly where I want it, right? But some people are really good at this. But the bottom line is simply that masking technique is really going to help us out here. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you today, how we can use masking tape to create thin, curved lines. And of course, along with our good friend Liquid Medium, we can make just about anything happen. So thank you so much for your time and attention. And by the way, if this video was helpful for you, please hit the like button. We love it when that happens. And also, if you want to hear more about what's happening in the studios, we're always doing interesting things. There are tips and tricks. I'm sharing tools with you, and we even work on big projects together. So if you want to learn more about that, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, and we'd love to see you on a regular basis. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'm Spider Graham. Thank you so much for dropping by, and I'll see you later.